Alright everybody, hello and welcome. As always, I am Sean. This is In The Mix, episode 87. Happy Tuesday, wherever in the world you might be watching from. Our second season rolls on and we're getting towards kind of the last little stretches of the season, and things are getting very tight, things are getting very interesting. It's still an incredibly close league. It's amazing how 2 wins can kind of rocket you up the table, and 2 defeats or draws or whatever else can see a whole bunch of different teams leapfrog you at the same time. We'll jump in, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see, we're currently sitting in 4th position, 34 games played, 18 wins, 4 draws and 12 defeats in that time, plus 8 goal difference. Have to keep an eye on that part because we're going to talk about some of the teams below us who have far more higher goal differences. 58 points behind us is Ipswich in 5th spot on 56 points, Barnsley on 54, and then Fulham, Swansea, Stoke and West Brom on 53, 53, 53, 52 respectively, and even Portsmouth on 51 isn't miles away either. So really, a bad run of form could see us drop all the way down to 10th or 11th position in the table if other results go against us and those teams start putting decent runs of form together. All of these are sides that we've exchanged points with at various points in the season. We've lost to Stoke and then beat them. We lost West Brom, then beat them. We, lost and then drew with Swansea and maybe Fulham as well. A couple of which we've played recently as well. If we look at the schedule since that last episode, where we beat Wigan 3-1 and drew 1-1 with Sheffield, we then lost 2-0 to Barnsley in a very frustrating game. We just couldn't really get anything together. It was form went out the window for some reason. But we have turned it around. We had a scrappy win against Preston North End, when perhaps they maybe could have got something late on. I think they hit the crossbar in the 88th minute or something like that. But we did have a good game and our front four played particularly well. We then beat West Brom 3-1. They have been consistently a pain in the ass in the last couple of seasons. Very strong lineup. They've got Morgan Rogers. They've got Sam Greenwood, who obviously scored a fantastic free kick in this one. Ryan Brewster's there. Serge Gnabry randomly plays there as well. They've got a very, very strong lineup and we did quite well to beat them away from home. And then probably one of our better performances of the season, a 2-1 win against Ipswich, who at the time, they've dropped off a little bit now, but at the time they were sitting up around the automatic promotion spots. Now, I think the wheels have come off for them a little bit in the last few weeks and they've picked up quite a few defeats and dropped down to 5th spot, but still a very, very strong team and we're doing quite well to keep them together. We do have Rochdale down in 20th today and 15th placed Sheffield Wednesday, who I think beat us earlier in the year 2-0. They did indeed. I don't remember the game specifically, but it'll be interesting to see if we, in the second half of the season, in a decent little run of form, having won 3 of our last 5, can continue our momentum, can continue putting good results together. It's been, we haven't had a clean sheet in a little while. A run stretching 9 games at this point, but I think we are starting to get a settled lineup going. As far as the squad's concerned, we've kept Mohamed Dillapor in the lineup. He's incredibly annoyed that I didn't sign a friend. There's nobody that's of a quality that we'd be able to bring in from the Iranian setup, from Pasopolis' setup, which is where we picked him up from. There's no one on the market. So he's annoyed about that. Then he started getting annoyed that he wasn't settling in the country, and it's just been a whole bunch of different stuff. He's kind of destabilising the squad a little bit, but no one seems to really be agreeing with him, which is not good to see, but it's at least helping us get away with it a little bit more. Interestingly, I forgot to mention it in the last episode, but if you look at our starting 11, there's no English players in that starting 11. It's an entirely different group in terms of backgrounds and all that sort of stuff and the clubs we picked them up from. And the other interesting part is if you look at 8 of the first choice 11, they're all 18 years of age, turning 19 in the next 12 months. The front 3 are 19 as well, Beniti, Ramirez and Kamara. Some of them have already had birthdays this year. Some of them will turn 20 next season as well. It's a very strong lineup and it's a very young lineup as well. Worst case scenario, if things don't go our way this season, I think we can keep consistency in this group of players, play them again next season, and our off-season might start to look a little bit more about bringing in English talent to try and fill out our quotas relating to homegrown players for the club, homegrown players for the nation, all that sort of stuff that comes with both the Championship and the Premier League's registration rules later in the series. But before we get too far, before we worry about any of that, we have to get beyond these 2 games. We're going to play Rochdale today at home. Tactically, we're going to go with our attacking structure. We're going to go after it a little bit at home. Petrovic did a double last time out. I'm hoping he's going to start hitting top form and fitness. And otherwise, the lineup has looked pretty good. Kubis has a little bit of a knock, but he should be fine. I think he's going to be able to get through this one without any dramas. And we'll just keep an eye on him as he goes. Now, one of the downsides of those homegrown registration rules is that at the moment, with Wademan out injured, and it looks like Rowley missing this one as well, we have to go in with a short bench. I'll show you what I mean. So I have to put Curse on, and let's put Greisinger there as well. If we hit team selection and then submit team, it says that we've only got 5 of 7 required players able to actually playing the match squad as being homegrown players. So we're going to drop Curse and we're going to drop Greisinger back off there. And if you leave gaps on the bench, it allows you to push through with only 5 of those required players in your squad. It's not ideal from a subs perspective, but I think it just means that we have to find a little bit more focus in our off-season this year. Instead of scouring the world for the best young talent playing international football or playing first-team football, we have to really focus on putting all our eggs in the English player basket to try and get more players in the squad that are homegrown. We are scouting quite a few different players that have their contracts up at the end of this season around the higher division. I don't think we'll get them all. I think a lot of these will get renewed by clubs. But at least there are options out there on the market. We can bring them in as squad players, bring them in as bench players, and hopefully some of them will develop into, proper first team regulars or Premier Division players. But as you guys know, if you've played Football Manager yourselves, English players, they come at a premium. They're very, very expensive. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of budget we get and how we can move around it in this upcoming off-season. We're of course going with Kubis in goal, Escobar and Mohamed Dilipur as the central defensive partnership. They'll continue working together to try and get that partnership right. Hernandez at left wing back, Trueblood at right wing back, Hussein and Madrigal in midfield, Benitez at the 10, Ramirez and Petrovic as the wingers, and Kamara leading the line up top. He's been excellent since we picked him up in January. Really that cutting edge that we lacked. I think in the first half of the season is kind of there with him now. Rochdale playing a flat 4-4-2. They got Ben Purrington, who we previously played at Charlton back in League One. I think he was in the Media Dream 11 a couple of seasons ago because his name rings a bell for me. 33 years of age now, still playing decent football at a championship level. In front of him, they got Morley, their captain. He looks to be a fairly solid deep line playmaker for this division and level. Been at Rochdale the entire save, 29 years of age now, 429 appearances for him. Their leading scorer, May, up top, looks to be solid, not spectacular, nothing jumping out at me as being particularly impressive there. One Irish under-21 cap for him. And Carroll on the left wing here is their leading assist creator for the season. Again, technically, mentally, nothing jumping out at me. Physically, he's got some good traits, 16 agility, 17 pace. But I think we should have enough to get beyond these guys, particularly at home. Passionately, we're going to say, great opportunity to show all the pundits their right to back you up, which is consistently working and getting good responses out of the team, so I'm going to consistently use it. Donnelly, first highlight of the game, it's a goal kick forward. Escobar loses out to the header, and Firth has gotten goal side. Bunce on the right, skips past one challenge. Hernandez jumps in, and he's given away a penalty, which is not the ideal start. Of course, anything can happen when you reload the game. We say this pretty much every episode. We've been in good form. Purrington's going to take the result in. Kubis with a phenomenal save. Gets down low to his right-hand side and pushes it around for the corner. What's going to happen from the resulting set piece? Good header away from Mohamed Dilipur. Morrison is going to reset. Back to Taylor. Long ball forward. Hernandez might recover, and we might be on here for the counter-attack. Trueblood now. Husseini. Back to Escobar. The highlight continues. All the way back to Kubis. We've still got possession, which means they can't really hurt us. Escobar goes for the long ball forward. It's a poor effort. Buchanan's going to recover. If Rochdale score after we save a penalty and then deal with the corner, I'll be furious. Husseini, now Benitez. Ball into the channel towards Kamara, who's gotten goal side and found the finish. 8th goal of the season for Abubakar Kamara. And it's probably, I think I mentioned it in the last episode, but damning that he is our leading scorer in the league with only 8 goals since January. But it's a lovely little work passage of play. Benitez just puts it into a bad area. The defenders, I'd be furious if that happened with us. If we were going a goal behind due to a defender missing a free header like that with no pressure on them, I'd be livid. But we've got one go our way this time. I think I mentioned in the last episode, I don't know if FM21 is going to happen or if it's going to happen in the same timeline with all the, closes and shuts throughout the world this year. I've got a highlight here before I finish that thought. Ball into Ramirez, now Benitez. Strike from distance, Donnelly does well to save and hold. But what I want to see, my biggest thing is first and foremost, I shouldn't say my biggest thing because it's not, it's my second biggest thing. May scored, Rochdale have equalised, whatever, let's keep going with what we were talking about. Is one, the wingers shooting from wide areas because you don't see it in real life football. And whenever I see stuff on Twitter, whether it's, the boss's account or the Sports Interactive account, they highlight particular passages of play that you see in the game that have happened in real life. And I think there's issues relating to the frequency at which you see them in Football Manager. And I think recreating every little individual thing that happens in a football game doesn't make for a good video game. But that's the big one. And then the other one is keeper ratings. Kubis has saved the penalty and he's on a 6.9 rating. That's just ridiculous. He should be on a 7 or an 8. He's been immense for us so far this season. Just never gets the respect in terms of match ratings. Long ball forward here. Flick on header is going to get its way to Firth. Rochdale playing a team much better than their league position of 20th. Kubis does well to save and hold. It won't help his match rating in any way. Ball out now to Mohamed Dilipur. It's a poor clearance. Bunce is going to pick up the ball on the right-hand side. And Firth with the strike. If it had been on target, I think that would have given us some trouble. We're through most of the first half now. 10 shots, 4 on target, 55% possession, 6, 4, and 45. I should stop focusing on, like just random thoughts and shit and actually manage the team a little bit assertively. Not happy with the performance out there. Let's go with that. It hasn't been good. Keeping in mind that they did miss a penalty as well. We should technically, if they'd have taken their chances, be 2-1 down. Got the ball here again, immediately from the kickoff highlight. Bunce inside, looks for the switch. Trueblood should recover. Forward to Petrovic. Now Hosseini finds Beniti. Petrovic again. Trueblood's got it on the right full back position. Keeping possession well and working in nice little triangles here. Petrovic now has some time and space in front of him. Goes the strike from the edge of the area, but never looked like troubling the goalkeeper. Throw in, left-hand side, 55 minutes played. Hernandez deep ball towards Petrovic, the big, tall winger I spoke about in the last episode, 193 centimetres tall on the right wing. Decent out of the air for those backstick balls, but Rochdale continue the highlight here. West with the ball over the top for Bunce on the right-hand side, squares it up to Firth, and thankfully he's missed a wide-open goal there, really letting us off the hook. Through the hour now, let's look at our subs, and let's just go on match rating. Petrovic, they're not rating that highly, so we'll bring on Dorber a little bit. Madrigal can come off for the Wolf, and who's the other one? Ramirez, they're saying, is struggling. I think Ramirez has played okay, and I don't have a left winger on the bench, so that kind of settles that one. Maybe we'll switch Hosseini and the Wolf, and maybe we'll put Dorber to be a winger on support. That might suit his traits a little bit better. We'll hold off on the last sub, actually. We'll give it until the last 10 minutes or so. Passionately, I have faith in you guys. There's a highlight going on here. Madrigal nearly won the ball back. Hernandez, ball forward. Morrison flicks on a header. West to Taylor. Long ball forward towards Firth, who has given us some trouble in the second half here. Escobar, nice little reverse pass there to Hernandez. Now Ramirez on the left wing. What can we do here before those subs come through? Madrigal, back to Hernandez, sends Ramirez down the line. He's got good pace. He's going to get there again. Can he square it up towards Camara? It's poor clearance. Madrigal will recover at the top of the box. And the ball back in is poor. Rochdale come away with the ball. Let's also use our Get Creatives there. Now those subs have gone through. And this is a side we should be beating, particularly at home. Beniti wraps his foot around a set piece. Mohamed Dilipur with his first chance to open his scoring. Hasn't got there though. Clearance and highlight continues. Ramirez, left wing, skips past one challenge, gets in the box, squares it to Hosseini, who near post finds his 4th goal of the season. Just that little tactical tweak, bringing the Wolf on to hold. Hosseini playing a little bit further forward. It's a wonderful finish. And 4 goals always come at important times, it feels like, for the big Iranian midfield. Ramirez just skips past that challenge there like he isn't even there. Good square ball. Hosseini first time, on his left peg, not his favourite foot. Gives us the 2-1 advantage. And hopefully we can kick on now. Let's go and get a couple of goals. Let's boost that goal difference, because I'm looking at Sheffield on plus 19 and Ipswich on plus 18. And it's not really setting us up that well to do well against them if it comes down to goal difference. We're into the last 10 minutes. We're going to use our demand more shout here. Buchanan, deep free kick for Rochdale. Parrington flicks the ball onto Morning. Looks to square it up. We should recover possession here through Trueblood. He's been good so far this season. Still working him on that wing-back defend role, which is the one I want him to fulfill. Beniti with the ball over the top. Kamara's gotten goal side. Oh, and he's nearly beaten him. Hosseini with a chance to get a double, and it's closed down well by the defence. Ramirez goes through the back of the Rochdale defender, and we give away a free kick to relieve the pressure. 4 minutes to be added on here. Is there any late drama? Donnelly with the long ball forward. Dennis, 2 fans come on. Escobar with a good header. It's immediately back in by Rochdale though. Morning, switch out to the left wing, finds May on the right hand side. Just stand him up, boys. Ball in towards West, and he's clipped the crossbar, and then we managed to scramble it away. It looked like we were in an attacking position there with that clearance, but comes to an end, and the referee's called full time as well. A 2-1 win. Maybe a little bit fortunate in that they missed a penalty and had a couple of good chances. 20 shots, 10 on target, 53% at possession, 9-4 and 47% for Rochdale. Assertively, a good win, boys. Well done. That makes it 4 on the trot. Still no clean sheets. And we travel away to Sheffield Wednesday, which means I think we're probably going to change our tactic just a little bit. Rochdale fall into the penalty spot. Into the relegation spots with that. And that penalty might come back and bite them in the arse. Kamara gets player of the match award, an 8.3 match rating for his goal. I'm going to say a superb in front of goal, and he is supportive of that, which is great. Only 3 days till the next game. I'm going to use a 1 rest day, given, there's quite a lot of games actually have come over the last 2 months, really. February's been busy, January was busy, and even December was pretty packed with midweek fixtures throughout the course. Tactically, we're playing away from home in the next one, so we're going to switch back to our positive mentality. It is still attacking, it's just not as helpful leather flying forward. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it up here for Petrovic, keep him as a winger on support, but give him some individual instructions. 1 to get to the byline, and 1 to take some more risks creatively. Let's also do the same thing for the attacking structure. just in case we mix that one up at all. Cross from byline, take more risk, shoot less often. Let's go with that. Perfect, I'm happy. Let's see how it works out. Just like that, we're a couple of days further ahead. We're of course going with Kubas in goal, Escobar and Mohamed Dillapor as the central defenders, Hernandez and Trueblood as the wing-backs, Madrigal and Hosseini Lanka midfield, Benitzi at the 10, Ramirez and Petrovic as the wingers, and Kamara up top. They're playing a very similar structure, a 4-2-3-1. We've got a couple of familiar faces here. They've got one Collins in goal, Brad Collins, who comes through the Chelsea Academy. I think he's at Barnsley at the start of a save. Decent little keeper there. Good sweeper keeper for lower division saves if you need one. They've got Nathan Collins as well from Stoke, who's quite a good central defender. A very young player, I think, in the Stoke Championship squad at the start of your save or your database. It's looked like he's been at Sheffield for a couple of seasons. We actually played Sheffield a few years ago, and they were very, very good. They tore us apart, to be honest. Ethan Ross on the left wing, they picked up from Aberdeen at some point. Scottish winger. Looks relatively solid, playing as an inverted winger on the left-hand side. They've got Dylan Markandale, who wears the captain's armband. He comes through the Tottenham Academy. I think previously we'd actually looked at trying to get him way back in the day when he initially left Tottenham, I think. But could never get his wages, and he's on 25k a week. That's absolutely mind-boggling. It's still crazy to think that like a lot of the sides that we're playing against, winning against, doing really well against, are spending more on individual players than we spend a week in our wage budgets. Assertively, I'm going to say, I know a lot of you are keen to avenge what happened last time we played them, and I'm also going to give the defensive line a little bit of a nudge, and I'll also give Kamara a little bit of a nudge just to try and continue his good little run of form. And if we get the win today, we'll go to 20 wins for the season, which I think is a pretty decent effort considering where we were last year, considering where the media expected us to finish rock bottom of the league again. Corner here, Ramirez to take. Towards Escobar, he's flicked it on. It's hit the crossbar and they managed to scramble it away. I don't know what happened to our corner routine there. Don't tell me they've deloaded or depopulated for some reason. Madrigal's picked up a yellow card. We'll have to keep an eye on that as the game continues. Statistically, we've had more shots and more shots on target, but they've had more of the ball. We're going to demand more here, just see if we can turn some of this focus into goals. Got a free kick from distance. It's going to be taken by Hosseini, about 30 yards out. Decent effort. Looked like it was coming back towards the top corner, but just too high and over the crossbar. To be fair, the keeper was not panicked. Didn't scramble or anything. Just watched it over. Throw-in left wing now, taken by Escobar. What's going on there? Why are our centre-backs now taking our throw-ins as well? I think something's happened in the last couple of games or days or whatever. Maybe it was that tactical change I did for Petrovic. It's deloaded all of our set-piece routines. Rinomota with the ball on the left wing. Hernandez does well. Trueblood with a poor clearance. Picked up by Ross. Or Trueblood does very well to recover. And then he's given it away again. So it's fits and spurts for Trueblood at the moment. Long ball up the line. Cut back out. Sheffield Wednesday will come back in. Reverse pass to Ledgesham, who gets in the goal gets in the box and then finds the goal. Fourth goal of the season for him. That was a poor passage of play for a couple of different players there. Trueblood, uncharacteristically, given the ball away a couple of different times in the build-up to that one. And if you give any team enough chances, they'll eventually find one. And it's not great defensively either. The defensive line just kind of collapses in on itself and leaves that gap for Ledgesham to run through. At least we know at half-time we can pull out the rocket. Aggressive. I expect to see much better showing from him in the second half. Let's go attacking. I don't think they're anything that we have to be too worried about. You can see here quite a few of the match ratings, not great. That's all right. We'll give it 15 minutes. And then I'm not sure if I should be worried more about match ratings or those yellow cards. We're through an hour here. I'm going to go with the yellow cards. Dorba will play as the fullback. He's not entirely suited, so we'll make him an attacking fullback. Hosseini will come off for the Wolf, and I'll bring on Granger for a rare appearance. He can play as a Messiah on support, and the Wolf can play as a deep line playmaker on support. And what else can we do to try and get the most out of this team? I think that might be it. Passionately, let's say, I have faith in you. Get out there, make a difference. And let's also use our Get Creative shout. There was a highlight while we were doing our subs there. Thankfully, nobody scored. Thrown on the left-hand side here for Sheffield Wednesday. Markandale. Dorba's gone through him. He's not going to get sent off, is he? It's not going to be a red card, for fuck's sake. Of course, I've used 3 subs, and one of those subs comes on and immediately gets himself sent off. What can we do here? What can we do? Screw it. Let's just keep going for it. It's probably stupid. Probably not the wisest thing to do in the world. But let's use our Get Creative shout again. Can we just punt long balls forward and then not have to worry about having a right back? Is that going to be enough for us? We're into the last 10 minutes now. We use our demand more shout also. This is not going according to plan. Well, Petrovic picked up the ball though, and we're 3v2 here if we get forward quick enough. He's lost possession. And now there's that big hole at left midfield for them. Peak tries to drag a defender out there. Gets the ball back across. White's managed to clip the crossbar, and then we scramble it away. We're going to get the ball there. Kamara didn't look interested. Corner to be taken now. Alderdice looks back stick. Mohamed Dillapor with a good header away. Stuart Allenson looks to square it up. It's close down well. Now Ramirez. Now what can we do on the counter-attack? He's got the pace to burn, and he's gotten goal side of a couple of defenders here. Can he get to the byline and cut it back? Oh, why didn't he cut it back? We had a man on the 6-yard box in Kamara just to tap that one home. Would have been 1-1. Throw in, left-hand side for Sheffield. This is the problem area. We don't have a right back in there at the moment. Collins sends it all the way back to the other Collins in goal. Ball forward out to the right-hand side. Ramirez will close down now. Back into midfield. Ledstrom looks out to the left. This is the danger. Don't overcommit. Don't overcommit. Don't overcommit. Just stand him up. Mohamed Dillapor does well. Wins it back. Benitez. Can he find that raking left ball onto the left-hand side? Ramirez was out there. Benitez's gone himself. Can he square it up? Instead, he's gone himself. If he had played that, that was like watching Harry Kane not square the ball to Raheem Sterling. We've had 2 chances here for tap-ins and we've missed them both. Benitez with the corner in. Wolf will recover at the top of the box. Square to Granger. Can he find the strike? It was straight at the keeper. Collins does well. If he had found one of the corners there, that'd have been the equaliser. Escobar, back post, gets the header in, and again Collins in the Sheffield Wednesday goal saves and holds. Their defensive line is just holding strong at the moment. Look at those match ratings. Fuck me. All right, we've lost. Right, so not happy with the performance out there. Dorbit owes me at least a case of beers. And a 1-0 defeat. Very much feels like that was against run of play, but I guess Sheffield Wednesday are kind of something of a bogey team for us. They're I think one of the few teams this season to have actually beaten us twice. Blackburn might have as well. Seasons go 36 games played, 19 wins, 4 draws, and 13 defeats, plus 8 goal difference for 61 points. It's still very, very tight. You can see Barnsley have dropped out of the playoff spot. Swansea have jumped in. Fulham have leapfrogged them as well. Aston Villa and Blackburn are just destroying teams. Aston Villa just beat West Brom, who were challenging for playoff positions, 4-0. Blackburn beat Preston 4-0, who gave us a bit of trouble, though they are rock bottom of the division. I don't think anyone's going to catch those two in the automatic spots now. It's a 7-point difference between second and third, but we can definitely still try and go on a run here and guarantee ourselves playoff football throughout the course of the season. Not great, but sometimes shit just goes wrong. We won't appeal that one. And what's that going to do to our schedule? I think what we're going to do is we're going to gamble a little bit this week, which we haven't done a tremendous amount. I'm going to gamble on the fact that we are going to make the playoffs. So we're going to jump forward here and do the games against Millwall and Birmingham. Unless our form really bottoms out and we do really poorly, we should still be in the playoff contention and playoff picture as we get to those games. And that would leave us either setting up the final day of the season for the Thursday episode, or if it looks like we're potentially not going to make the playoffs, we might just try and jam a couple of these last games in there. We do have Aston Villa and Portsmouth coming up. There will be big fixtures. So quite a bit of football still to be played. I can't get too ahead of myself, but we are in the final 10 games of the league season. It will be interesting to see how it all plays out from there. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That is the portion that I appreciate the most. If you want to be one of those people that goes the extra mile, does that little bit extra for the content and the community and all that sort of stuff, you can drop a like on this video. You can also subscribe to the channel if you want to be kept up to date on all of our future videos as they continue to be released. Check out that box just over on that side over there. You can see the links to our Twitter, which is where we interact with all the community throughout the course of the week, and it's the easiest place to reach me directly if you ever need anything, as well as our Sunday night Twitch streams, twitch.tv/inthemixer_FM. As always though, guys, I've been Sean and I'll see you all again in the mixer.